thought we'd take one last look at 2024 since I got my worst out of the way. Now we complete it with the best of 2024. I realize that I haven't done a best of the year list for almost a decade, actually. Actually, maybe it was a decade since I last did it, or maybe it was somewhere close to it. I don't remember. I steered away from doing one for a while because I thought it was just kind of tiresome that I would follow the same trend as everybody else. But I've gotten to a place now where I think I could do some shape or form of a best of the year list, or maybe phrase it in a way where I look back on some of my favorite experiences or big surprises of the year in cinema. I also realize that if I want to do a top 10 list of some kind, I need to see a lot more than what I show you guys here. But for my own experience, here's some of the stuff that I'll look back on fondly with this year. Number 6, A Complete Unknown. As I said in my previous review, it was lacking some of the emotional depth that audiences would be craving, but given how Bob Dylan is mysterious and aloof with other people, I think it was actually very much in vein, correctly to a point anyway, of how it would portray Bob Dylan. With James Mangold behind the camera and Timothée Chalamet continuing to prove himself as a noteworthy actor in Hollywood right now, this I think is exactly what Bob Dylan fans and fans of cinema would go to the movies for. It also made me somewhat more willing to listen to Bob Dylan's catalog, if you could believe it. Number 5, Twisters. Yet another addition in the legacy sequel category, and it's grown on me considerably in the months since I saw it this past summer. Personally, I don't really like to compare, but if I had to in the sense of how does it compare to its predecessor, I'd say they're about on the same level. They both have a similar emotional weight that drives the main character to what they want to accomplish, and as a charismatic lead actor in the forefront in Glenn Powell, who, like Timothée Chalamet, continues to prove just how credible he really is. Even with all the storm-chasing endeavors that are thrown into the mix, it feels like you're actually in the thick of these storms, which is a huge credit to the director Lee Isaac Chung, who grew up in Tornado Alley. I've heard there's some talks about a sequel. I don't really think I would want to see one. I would hate to see it go the route of the Jurassic World stuff as of late, but if they can find a way to make it credible in comparison, then we'll see. Number 4, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. For someone who knew a little bit about Christopher Reeve before this documentary, I found this to be a very insightful and inspiring tale. With all the things that he had thrown at him with his paralysis, he never once gave up hope that he would be able to walk again. He was, in a way, a real-life Superman, giving people hope that they could find a way to fly again, no matter what kind of roadblocks that they had thrown at them. And I still maintain that no matter what interpretation of Superman comes out now, Christopher Reeve will be the definitive Superman, just like Tobey Maguire was for Spider-Man, and Christian Bale for Batman. Just me personally. Number 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool 3 at number 3. Okay, that was a stupid joke. To say that this is a step back in the right direction for Marvel, it may or may not be true, but if anything, it is good to see a potential return to form from the MCU. Even if some of the others have been good, consistency-wise, it hasn't really lived up to what came before during the Infinity Saga, but with Ryan Reynolds involved, I was more than confident they were going to steer the ship back in the right direction. With all of these shenanigans coming from Wade Wilson Deadpool, along with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, albeit a different one thrown into the mix, finally giving us the yellow spandex that was hinted at in the first film almost 25 years ago, and a slew of cameos that not only are there for fan service, but they enhance the plot that's been established. This may be on the nose, but Ryan Reynolds, you are officially Marvel Jesus, if anything. So thanks, dude, for getting us some hope again. Number 2, Wicked Part 1. Talk about a surprise, because I had no clue that I was going to get what I got from this one. I had heard about the Wicked musical, never really bothered to look into it. I knew that it had some connections with The Wizard of Oz. For about maybe a good half of the film, I thought, okay, this isn't that bad. But then the school dance scene happens where we see Glinda and Elphaba bonding together on the dance floor, and I thought, okay, now you got my attention. Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Jeff Goldblum, and everybody else involved are all on point. And similar to Star Wars, it does have that appeal that everybody at any age can enjoy, not just young kids. If Cynthia Erivo doesn't get at least considered for an Oscar nomination, I will call blasphemy, because she is a huge revelation. I am very curious and excited to see what Part 2 has in store for us. If anyone knows what happens, do not tell me anything. Don't message me, don't comment, don't tag me, nothing. But since we live in the digital age, that's almost impossible. Either way, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. And finally, number 1, Civil War by Alex Garland. a movie that for some people has become more and more relevant in light of recent months. One of the more horrific portrayals of combat that we've seen in a long time, even showcasing some of the best work that Kirsten Dunst has done throughout her career. And her husband, Jesse Plemons, making an impression even if it's for one scene, one that we're all going to remember even when they first showed him in the trailers. It also makes a wise decision to not get into a political statement of any kind, whether it's left or right. But at least one or two people I've talked to have seen Nick Offerman's character as a certain president-elect. I'm not going to get into any of that here because it's too heated to talk about. And when you start applying why and how exactly California can align with Texas in an alliance against the Loyalist states in this movie, under the slightest ounce of scrutiny, that would start to fall apart. But if you love cinema and you're into political stuff, and you like seeing parallels to historical events in the past, and if you're also maybe one of those people who wants a civil war to happen, first of all, you should probably think 3 times or even 4 times before deciding that you want that, because this movie does serve as a warning that if we actually allow ourselves to go too far, this is what the future could look like for us. If anything, I see this film as a cautionary tale to all of America, not just Republican or Democrat or Independent. Whatever happens in the future going forward, I have no doubt that this film is going to have a lasting impression for quite some time. So that's all I got to say about my favorite experiences of 2024 in cinema. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below and tell me what your favorite moments were in cinema or in entertainment of 2024, and I'll see you guys in the next one.